they've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. But he went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases.
Welcome back to the Goldpilled Show. This episode is not brought to you by Saint Wave, but I have his shirt on. We love him. I'm not going to dox him. Do I have chocolate on my pants? Is it my brother the other day? He had a stain on his shirt, like around his butthole, that was brown. And I said, dude, I met him at the pool, and we had all our kids together, and there's like, he's married, and he's got kids, and he's not like on the market. But I was like, dude, you've got a stain, bro. And he's like, I go, would you like sit on some chocolate? He's like, it's probably shit. I go, whose? He's like, my kids, duh. What am I shitting on my shirt? Anyway, it's been too long. Hopefully you watched some of that interview with the street preacher sign guy. I reviewed it, and I thought it was pretty good. Oh, my gosh. Don't need to worry about that call. I thought it was pretty good, but I let him talk way too much. It wasn't very integralist of me to give a heretic that much freedom to speak. And that's my biggest regret of that whole interview. I didn't go hard enough on him. I was ageist. It was kind of like the Biden, one of Trump's biggest victories, one of his most masterful moves, was not roasting Biden too much. Just as Lao Tzu, young swung here, as Lao Tzu, I think says in The Art of War, never interrupt your enemy when they're defeating themselves. Never. Never interrupt when your enemy's imploding. So what he did was he's like, frankly, you couldn't hit a six handicap. You couldn't hit a 6. That's frankly that like he just let Biden implode, because the big thing with Trump is that he has to sway women to vote for him. The reason that he lost, and let's just say it, I know it could have been stolen, yada, yada. But the reason why they were even remotely able to steal it is because of the spite vote. Okay. People hated Trump more than they liked Biden. And so they chose Biden because he's a normie, fake Catholic. The only thing I wish Trump had done was to really roast Biden. I wish he had answered the fentanyl question honestly and said, look, we're doing treatment better than anyone else. We want people to not be hooked on drugs. The Chinese, they're supplying it. The cartels, they're pumping it into our borders. It's a travesty. People are dying from fentanyl. I wish he'd done that. And then I really wish when Biden was talking about being pro-choice that he'd just been like, I thought you were Catholic. Like if he just said, I thought you were Catholic, I thought these bishops are saying, what are the cafeteria? I don't know. I thought, I'm not Catholic, but I thought you were. That's my only regret. So I kind of trumped the, no, not really, but I want to interview the guy again. He keeps texting me. Like, St. Paul, when you're reading St. Paul, he doesn't use sentences. He just, the biggest run-on sentences ever. This guy sends me the biggest boomer run-on sentence scrolls about, like, if you read here in 2 Timothy, it says, call no man father, and it's like all these. And I'm like, dude, I am just going to interview you again, and you don't know it yet. And when I bring you on, I'm not an apologist. I'm not going to apologize either. Not going to apologize for my pathetic interview with the man, although I'm not going to apologize for it, and I'm not an apologist. I'll never claim to be an authority on church teaching. I'm not a professional Catholic, okay? I'm just a dude who is Catholic who likes to argue. But I like people more than I like arguing, and I think that that's an important distinction. We've all seen the meme where it's a guy in hell going, but I was based. Okay? Oh, you don't want to get too based for your own britches. Okay? That's the and I got there. I got a little too weird. Got a little too based. Okay? But at the end of the day, God doesn't want you to be too base. He wants you to be merciful and to love, to will the good of another. and be friendly and charitable and all that. Obviously, we need to politically crush our enemies. Like, we don't need to maybe, the whole like integralist thing. I've always said, you've got these people who are like, we need a king. We need a Catholic monarch who is like Franco, where we're giving free helicopter rides and we're kicking communists out. That would be cool. But let me tell you, it's not going to be the philosopher king. It's going to be a jock. It's going to be like someone with the IQ of Trudeau, but like a jock who's going to be like, all right, listen, enough of this faggy, fraziogine, enough of this faggy, like, what? I had that moment the other day. I was reading Aquinas on, I was Googling something for Aquinas, but what ended up populating was the marital debt. If you're not familiar, the marital debt is, as Paul says in Corinthians, you are likened unto each other a slave. Like, you owe each other sex contractually as a married couple. Not this like, I'm not in the mood, da-da-da-da-da. It's like, well, and as he says in the scriptures, like, if you're, the dumb wit translation of the Bible, this is the dumb wit translation. If you're horny and you're going to whack off, you need to cash in the marital debt. And the wife is obligated to have sex with you. I'm sorry. But vice versa, which is like, well, that doesn't sound so bad. Dude, have y'all ever had the flu? I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say it. But have you ever been sick, or you're sad, or you're just like, you're black-pilled about something you saw on Twitter? I don't know about y'all, but like, you're not wanting to have sex. I don't know about your wife, but sometimes my wife wants to have sex, and I'm like, it might be gay if you're like single. You're like, how do you do that? I mean, like, dude, if I'm like black-pilled about something in the moment, I'm not like, okay, like I'm stoked to hump. Okay. So that's why he says, obviously, the burden falls more on the woman, because the men are aggressively horny, more. I don't know where I was going. Oh, but then so the marital debt. I'm sorry. I started reading Aquinas on the marital debt. I found a place where I disagree with St. Thomas Aquinas. It wasn't the Summa. It was like with the appendix or something. I don't know what it. He says that if a man has leprosy and demands the marital debt, the woman must have sex with him. And this is kind of one of those things where it's like, look, I love Thomas Aquinas. I love him to death. He is such a great bedrock for scholastic thought. He is scholastic thought. He gives intelligibility. He provides that channel for the autist to become Catholic. Like, he is the autist's autist. I pissed a lot of nuns off, Dominican sisters off, by saying he had at least a touch of the tism. He might have had a dollop of the tism, because according to the guys at the Thomistic Institute YouTube videos, and I've met those guys. They were in Hillbilly Thomists. I met them when they played their show. A friend of mine's brother-in-law is one of those guys. He's a great segue for very smart people. I'm like too dumb to, like, a lot of people I think LARP and are like, no, I love Thomas Aquinas. He's the best. When I read him, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. I have to Google what you mean. But I heard you loud and clear that a woman's supposed to jump on a leprous penis. It's one of those times where you're like, I think the Lord would just be like, no, I'm sorry. Your penis is covered in leprosy sores. You are not maritally obligated to hump this man. Like, let's be reasonable. And I know that Thomas is reasonable. At the same time, I think we can get a little too much, not to sound like Francis, but like, if we get not rigid, no pun intended, not rigid, but like, you've got to temper this stuff with the sensus communis, being commonsensical. Like, I would never want my daughter who's married, if my son-in-law had weird sores all over his body, to be able to demand the marital debt lest he whack off. That's another thing. I was reading it and I was like, all right, but you don't whack off, Thomas, and neither did St. Paul. How can they remain? I guess in the medieval period and the early period, and you read Paul, and you're here. I say I'm not an expert, and I'm like expounding on my retarded thoughts on the Bible. You read the stuff, and you're like, oh, they kind of think that married people are like weak, like retarded people. Fair enough. You're listening to me talk. Yeah, I am. I am a weak, retarded person. He's right. Now, does it look okay? It looks okay to me. All right, so we've got a lot to talk about. We've got the Joe Biden. This is ancient Chinese secret, to steal a line from Gavin McInnes, peace be upon him. But this is like ancient news by this point. But when I watched that debate, I wanted Trump to say, did I say this already? Yeah, I wanted Trump to say, why aren't you Catholic, to Biden? But Joe Biden, what's the weirdest thing to me about this whole thing? Everyone's like, did you see how coordinated the liberal media was in stabbing him in the back? Dude, all they read is like these these Malakoi kind of soft guys, these nuanced guys on Twitter who were like, well, I saw this really great quote from a term from this Protestant Twitter guy. He calls it Jesus juking, where like if someone's making a hard point, they're like, yes, but the Lord really is merciful, and we need to welcome everybody into this country because we too are welcomed into the church, and da 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 da. And they like juke out of these like kind of hardline positions because they're like, and then they go, well, but then when it's stuff like racism or gun control or whatever, they're like, the Jan 6 people need to be locked away forever. Throw away the key. Execute. One guy they put like a Defiant taking L's kind of thing. If you're not on Twitter, just look up Defiant taking L's, or Defiant L's. They did a juxtaposition between two tweets where one guy's like, hey man, like Jesus said, love your neighbor, like not crush your enemies. And then his tweet from Jan 6 was like, they need to be hung. Lock them up and throw them away the key. These are despicable traitors, like all this stuff. So I'm not trying to Jesus juke Thomas Aquinas, but you let me know, if you have a leprous wiener, number one, is it just to demand the marital debt? And number two, should your wife do it? I'm just saying that's hard. That's a hard saying. But Biden, the reason why, that was a huge rabbit hole, but back to Biden. Everyone's like, oh, the liberal media, da, da, da. No, they're only consuming this Jesus juking, like soft boy stuff on Twitter where it's like, hey guys, I met with the subcommittee and good news, we're fast tracking more immigrants and da, 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 and like, the pizza in DC is the worst. That's all they're talking about. Or like, yes, I posted the black square after the year of our Floyd. Like, we're dealing with soft boy politics, and that's what they're seeing. They're watching them. They're literally reading the New York Times and the BBC and WAPO. Like, it's like they're sophisticated, okay? And I understand that some of their arguments that like everyone's their own island now on Twitter and people are spooling up into weirdness. Totally. At the same time, I'm sorry, the institutional media has dropped the bag, but they don't know what we've known literally since 2020. That Joe Biden is senile and literally has dementia. And his performance was so bad. It's kind of like how feminism goes out. His performance was so bad that they immediately, it was intelligent. They just knew immediately that they had to get rid of him. Like, this guy will not win. Everyone now knows that he's senile. Most of them didn't get it. They didn't know. Most of them did not know because they are just reading this bullshit. They're reading all the stuff and they're being earnest and honest. They're not everyone like all these. I talked to a lady the other day who was like, Democrats are just duplicitous. They're just like totally lying. They're lying. They're lying all the time. Many of them lie, But a lot of them are just like, no, I don't like Trump. I don't watch a lot of stuff, but I read the New York Times and I listen to NPR on the drive to work. They don't know about Biden. Now, the reason why they're so quick to bring the knives out, let's say it's true that, it was a setup and they want to replace him with. This is like the worst idea ever. You're in the last quarter of this game and you're going to get rid of your starting quarterback. What are you going to do? Let the backup in? It doesn't matter if the backup's Tom Brady, because that's his origin story. He was a backup who got brought up and he flourished. Tom Brady's not the guy you want. Even if if it's the first game and you got fourth quarter and you don't want that. That sucks because the rest of the team doesn't know him that well. It's like the strategist, what are they going to bring? Michelle Obama? Michael? That's their only shot, because Gavin Newsom is out of central casting for a villain. The governor of California, he looks so slick. In fact, can you bring up a picture of Kimberly Guilfoyle and Gavin Newsom? Kimberly Guilfoyle, who is Don Jr.'s wife now, used to be married to Gavin Newsom. Fun fact. Kimberly Guilfoyle, Guilfoyle, Kimberly Guilfoyle and Gavin Newsom. They were married when he was the mayor of San Francisco. Okay, look up, keep scrolling down, and I'll get to and then pull this picture up full screen. Keep scrolling. That one on the carpet. Okay. Is it lagging? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it goes full screen on that if you can. Yeah, just visit the site. Yeah, there you go. Look at this photo. Okay. Yeah, I mean, she's attractive. He is from central casting as a villain. You're gloating and having some sort of sexy Burt Reynolds photo shoot on the carpet in your expensive San Francisco place. What I do love about this is it has the innocence of, can you close out of that little pop-up? It has the innocence of the early 2000s. Was this photo done before 9/11? I wonder. This seems like a pre 9/11 photo where it's 1990, the year 2000. We're gonna, things are new and we've got Windows 2000. We're gonna lay on the carpet. So Kimberly Guilfoyle then switched sides and became this vocal, right-wing lady, and that's fine. I'm sure Don Jr.'s happy, but Gavin Newsom's out of central casting. He can't win. No one knows who he is. If you're watching this, you're very online. You know who these people are probably, but nobody knows who Gavin Newsom is. And so he's not going to win. People know who Michelle Obama is. She's the only hope, but what are you going to blow, jump the shark with Michelle Obama? The play is Apollo 13. They're going to be lost around the dark side of the moon, and they're going to slingshot her if they even went to space, if space is even real. I'm half kidding, but they're going to slingshot her around the moon and then let Trump go. But what they don't understand is with the Supreme Court ruling that the president can basically do whatever he wants in office and not be prosecuted, this may be the last president. Trump may just say, I'm not going anywhere, and my son will succeed me. He might. I mean, he might do it. He might. He's so dynastic in his thinking. His name is literally Trump. I went to this funeral of a friend's father at a Baptist church the other day, and God rest his soul. But I hadn't been to a Baptist service. Why am I yawning? This is so low energy. I just had lunch. That's probably why. I had sushi. But it usually makes me feel, carbs. It usually makes me feel like a samurai. I went to this Baptist service, and I hadn't been to a good old-fashioned Southern Baptist thing in a while. Man, I love their hymns. Dude, they love it. They're, clapping. It is actually kind of awesome. I'm sorry. I know there's maybe some Yankees listening to this being like, that's cringe. Okay. Look, I want the church to be one. Bring in your quirks. I don't really care. Let's get weird. Okay. So anyway, I'm listening to these hymns, and they do, I forget which song, it's an old-timey hymn, and they had the words on a screen, like in this like kind of traditional Baptist church, but there's screens up. And one of them is Trump. It's like, he Trump, like thy grace Trump, the devil or something. And like there were a bunch of, I could tell there were a bunch of like liberals at this, who don't go to church, like at this funeral. And it just said like Trump, and like everybody in there was thinking of Trump. And like, yeah, his name's in a hymn about God triumphing over the devil and stuff. And it's like, his name, you can't, it's truth is stranger than fiction. We have the guy from Apprentice whose last name is Trump, who may be the last president. You've heard it here, folks. I hate the word folks, but that's a turn of phrase there. Have you ever noticed that? People who say folks, like, well, folks really need to not have a food desert. They're the last people to know actual folks. Like, they don't know folks. They're folksy. They're folkish. They're not folky. They're folkish. Bullshit term. I hate that. Anyway, let's go to our clips. I've been rambling about all this stuff, but let's go to our clips. Thanks for watching this, by the way, if you've gotten this far. I don't remember what I texted you. I don't even remember what I sexted you. We got Twitter popping up. Who knows? It might be like, you need to sign in to see this. Hold on, Zen change. Sorry, Rogues. Because I'm back on Rogue. Get the jewelry out the safe because I'm back on Rogue. Oh my gosh, it does this shit. Just, oh, shitpost gateway. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just refresh that. There we go. Sorry for the dead air for the podcast listeners. We're still here. Okay, I don't remember what this is, but Autism Capital. See if the audio works. Are you listening to audio? Oh yeah, did I send you this one? Hold on just a minute. Hey Zandy. I'm recording right now, so this will be on the episode. Hey, what are you doing? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you come over here and help us not be retarded and just show us one time, once and for all, how to make this look okay? Okay. I'll sext you the address. All right. Night. Goodbye. Hold on a minute. Let me sext Xando this new address. Wow. What a great meta cameo. All right. I think it. What? That's to do something else? Okay. All right. Anyway, Trump, or that Putin video is very funny to me because he's waving. It's like cutesy. Here's the deal. I don't give a shit. Oh, yeah, this one. The internet's the greatest. What a complete just warp speed mind F the internet has been. But also you get funny gems like this. Marine Le Pen, I guess, hugging a refugee lady with you've seen the hover hand. Everyone's seen the hover hand where a guy is uncomfortable touching a girl and he'll like do the side hug without even touching her. This is the pincher. Look, her thumb is obviously not, it's literally the one finger actually. It's not a pinch. Look, it's one finger on the shoulder. Just a one finger hug. The one finger side hug. Men, if you're getting a one finger side hug from any women, they are repulsed by you. Not maybe in like they don't know it, but their body does. The flesh is weak and the spirit is strong. Okay, what's the next clip? Whoa, whoa, whoa. That looked like boobs. Hold on, but it's not. Wait, is it? What did I send, dude? Hold on. Okay, we might have to edit this out.
I never saw this.
Oh. Wait, look at me. Am I lagging?
Yeah, it's always like.
Okay. Okay, this. Okay, this one we got our boobs cut off. And then that's the doctor, and look at his face. And then there's Kanye. Can you not expand this? Is this the worst? Look, I'm sorry. We've got Zandy coming to the rescue. Oh, you just click on it. Okay. On the OBS? Okay. All right, scroll over. That's the plastic surgeon. No. Look, you know what? I saw it, so you have to. Look at where we are. You thought we were going to have flying cars, robots making our food, but instead we have very damaged, deconstructed women with butterfly neck tats getting their boobs cut off by like this Jewish guy here. Scroll over to the Kanye. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. One of the funniest clips he's ever made. I wish I had it. I wish they did it where he's like, I'm not going to say what kind of doctor it is. It was a Jewish doctor. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I know some people like that. I know not Jewish doctors like that, but I know some people who've had their boobs cut off. Oh yeah. There was this one hot girl who, when I was not yet married and I worked, she worked in the same office I did, and she was hot. Like, she was hot. And she was like alt and indie and like, you know, but hot. And I was in the break room one day, and I'd gone to lunch with a bunch of people, and she was there once, and, you know, we would like chat in the hall every now and then or whatever. And I was like super hipster. And so I'm sitting there eating my lunch, and I was dating my wife. I don't even know if I was engaged yet. Maybe I was engaged, but she came and sat down, and she's like, how's it going? I was like, yeah, it's going pretty good. How are you? She's like, oh, my boyfriend and I just broke up. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. She's like, yeah, you know, sucks. And I'm like, that does suck. I'm sorry. It's just me and her. And she's hot. And I'm like, that sucks. I am sorry to hear that. She's like, yeah, I mean, like, you know, I don't even know what to do. You know, I'm like, yep, I wouldn't either. You know, that's, y'all were together. And she's like, we were together for a long time. You know, I'm like, yep. She was putting out feelers. She was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what to do with my time anymore, myself. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like that, I get it. And then she said something that was just like, yeah, we should get like lunch sometime. And I was like, yes. I was like mid bite, you know, I go, I didn't go, I was like, I didn't know what to do. She was so hot. And I mean, I literally was tempted. Have you ever been tempted before? Put it in the comments, I guess. But I was tempted. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, blah, 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 da, da, da. Well, she ended up quitting, and I kept up with her on social media some. But she ended up moving to, like, the Pacific Northwest somewhere, and I don't know if she cut her boobs off. I think she might have cut her boobs off, but there was a video of her that she put on the line of her injecting herself with hormones. And like she's sitting in this like artsy kind of apartment and on a stool, and she's like crying and like tapping the bubbles out of the syringe, and I'm like, and she injects herself and then like starts crying like it's her first injection of like hormones, and I'm like, yo, wow. So I prayed, and I think I even DM'd her. Don't tell my wife. Actually, I told her. And I was like, hey, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. And wherever you go, there you are. Keep that in mind for yourself. That's not what I DM'd her. And I dropped it, and I defriended her, and she never responded. But look, wherever you go, there you are. Which is a great segue into, you're Catholic, you may have just converted, you may be interested in converting. That's good. I hope you do convert. It's a wonderful way to live. It's the most true way to live. But wherever you go, there you are. So, and what that means is whatever vices you've cultivated, whatever baggage you have, whatever wreckage of your past you have, no matter where you go, there you are with that stuff. So you've got to take care of that. And people make these geographic changes. They're going to move somewhere and start, this new life and get away from their old playgrounds and playthings and all that and playmates. That's fine. But wherever you go, there you are. So if you become Catholic, that's great. But you still got to deal with the wreckage of your past. Confession's a great way to start doing that. I'm going to, go to confession and tell another grown man for the first time ever everything that I've done bad without any strings attached. Very uncomfortable thing to do. Mine took like 35, 40 minutes of me reading off of a couple sheets of paper, face to face with an old boomer priest named Father Strange. Literally. You can't make it. The president is Trump, and my first confessor is Father Strange. Yeah, I don't know where he's at now. I think he was married and his wife died and he became a priest. I think that's what happened, which is actually kind of a great vantage point for a priest. When I was married, like, this was what happened, Anyway, he heard my confession, and I was scared. He was going to be like, you need to call the cop. Who knows? Like, oh, that's kind of criminal. That's not good, Oh, you're a damaged piece of shit. What I got was, that was a very good first confession. I'm like, okay, all right. I haven't told anyone that, that kind of thing. Well, that's great. I got forgiven. But some of the things I did, I have to go say I'm sorry for. They don't tell you that in confession a lot, but the real thing is being forgiven by God and coming into communion with the church formally, obviously. But a close second is saying you're sorry for something you've done wrong and reconciling with the person. And whether or not they accept it or not is important. So I think people get caught up in the weeds, especially if they're new converts. They're just like, yes, I'm right. So a lot of people tend to lean into their pride, go, I'm right, you're wrong, everyone's retarded. You may be right, but it's back to the meme. I was based. I was right. Yeah. What is it he said in the scriptures? Like, I desire not sacrifice, but mercy. Like, I don't want the smoke from the sacrifice. I want mercy. That's what he wants, So, say what? Say what? Trying hard? Oh, a contrite heart. I want to, contrite heart and mercy. Look, I'm telling Biden. Look, the bottom line is, I have hairy legs, and we beat Medicaid. Okay. Look, the bottom line is, when you go to confession, you need to say sorry to the person you messed up. Okay. That's one thing I will say about being Catholic. Like, I've met when that sign guy came, I think that there were really 2 points that no Protestant has been able to satisfy. Like they can talk about the thought, they can give me food for thought, and at times some pause. Frankly, not like, oh, is this all? Am I wrong? Like about the faith? Is the faith wrong? I'm just like, oh, that is kind of a good point. Let me look into that. But the thing they never get right, they can't, is confession. I asked the guy, I go, do you confess? He's like, I've confessed to my brethren. I'm like, do they have the power to retain your sins? And he was like, I mean, he was honest enough to say, like, I confess to my brethren what I do. Because what most Protestants think is like, oh, this is just means if I messed up to another person, if I harmed another person, I go to them and they can either forgive me or not, but then I go to God to be ultimately forgiven. That's what that means. They can retain my sin, but that just means they don't forgive me. And that's on them. That's on them. No, that's not. They can do that. They can refuse to forgive you, but that you don't need to worry about them. You need to worry about what God thinks about you. Not meaning you do need to worry about them and the state of their soul and if you're treating them charitably, but that's not what that means. And no Protestant has ever been able to say to me, yeah, they can retain my sins. Protestants do, as a rule, this is not all, and I know the high Anglicans, Anglo-Catholic, yeah, I get that. But even the Anglicans, I know, like, they don't go to confession. Like, at most, it's kind of a counseling session, And that's the beautiful thing about the Catholic faith is you can go to confession. One thing that I've really been trying to work on is when I say I'm sorry in confession is meaning it. Like, I am sorry, but more, well, not meaning it, but like, I know I'm sorry. I've got a degree of contrition, sometimes more contrition than other times when I'm in confession. But what I've been really trying to work on is going, oh, and I should stop doing these things. It's important for me to stop sinning. Like, how many times am I going to go back and keep doing this stuff? That should give us all pause. And we should be in the confessional being like, all right, this is bad. And it's not just like, I got to go to confession now and like check this off. And so I don't die in a car wreck and go to hell. Okay. This should be like, oh, I'm sorry. And I need to stop doing this stuff because it's evil. That's hard for people to get to, or at least it's hard for me. So, speaking of Anglicans, though, I was forwarded this message. Can you Google? I'll talk about other things, but can you Google Malta 2? Like Malta and then Roman numeral 2. Anglicans. Apparently, Kiss Me or Heal Me with Your Mouth. Cardinal Fernandez or whatever his name is, the guy who wrote Heal Me with Your Mouth, The Art of Kissing, and like, I think he said like "Kiss Me, You Bitch" or something on his book. He's the one who basically ghost wrote the gays can be blessed thing. Apparently Malta 1 was this like proposal by Paul VI to recognize Anglican holy orders, and I think it was Pope St. Pius X who, notice I didn't say Pope St. Paul VI. I mean, he is a saint of the church, but I'm not used to saying that. Anyway, Pope Pius X apparently was like, no, their holy orders are invalid. I don't know if it was that Pope. But Malta, are you seeing this? Malta 2 Anglican orders? It should be, I don't know, it's a kind of yes. Rome moves toward full communion with Orthodox Anglicans. Archbishop of Canterbury and Church of England excluded from talks in September, which seems base, but keep going. All right. In a historic step, the Vatican is working towards full communion with conservative. Do that. Go to that. Is for full communion with conservative Anglicans by recognizing Anglican holy orders and churches without requiring amalgamation or conversion. The union will be based on a Malta II proposal presented by the Anglican Church of North America that revives Malta I report agreed upon by Pope Paul VI and Archbishop of Canterbury Dr. Michael Ramsey in 1966. According to the Malta I proposals, differences in matters like Petrine, primacy, infallibility, and Mariology would be overcome by ensuring that neither communion is tied to a positive acceptance of all the beliefs and devotional practices of the other. There will be a lot of doubling down for people who do not actually want a unified church. I think that was Calvin Robinson, the weird mixed dude who. Anyway, unity and mutual acceptance of holy orders will be based on the recognition that each community accepts the basic truths set forth in the ecumenical creeds and common tradition of the ancient church. I mean, this sounds like C.S. Lewis wrote it. You know, like this is like mere Christianity. But the question really is, what does that mean? What did we just read mean? Can you scroll back up? Keep going. Okay. So what are we doing? Are we accepting their holy orders? Unity and mutual acceptance of holy orders would be based on the recognition that each communion accepts the basic truths set forth in the ecumenical creeds and the common tradition of the ancient church. So what does that mean? Either this pope who declared that their holy orders are not valid is wrong. Yeah, look, Pope Leo XIII. Keep going down. Historical events and past decrees like Apostolic Curiae, which was issued in 1896, declaring all Anglican ordinations to be absolutely null and utterly void, will be re-examined, only to the extent that they can throw light upon the facts of the present situation. Okay, what about throwing light on the facts of the prior situation? Significantly, the process of Anglican... Look, I want the Anglicans to be Catholic. I like Anglicans. Dicastery for promoting Christianity, but through the DDF, the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, is heal me with your mouth. You know what I'm talking about? Heal me with your mouth. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Google heal me with your mouth. Take me on solo cam before you do that. I don't know what the hell is going to pop up. This is how bad this is. All right. Heal me. Look at me frozen with this ghetto ass setup we have. Let me hold on while he's looking at it. I'm going to be sexting Zando. Okay, when he gets here, what if we had him on? He would never. That would be actually kind of funny. What if he sat down and we just mic'd him up? All right. Did you find Heal Me With Your Mouth? Look up Fernandez. Cardinal Fernandez, I believe is his name. Hold on. Speak of the devil. I almost said literal devil. Hello? Are you here? Are you outside? Okay.
It's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.